sure if you're able to add this to the agenda. But if we were able to do so, we would be able to meet more frequently. If you remember that in September of last year, when we last met, I gave a detailed report of how many times we met. And one year we actually met 21 or 23 times within 1 year, which far exceeds the amount of time that we were able to meet. If you were to take into consideration the meetings that we had in order to put together this report, that could count. So it's not like we were sitting idly by, not meeting at all. Otherwise, nothing could have actually gotten done. But in regards to us meeting, the last time we met was actually in September of 2024 of last year. And we convened again just recently, but we made plans to meet before that, but it just became challenging to do so.
Yeah, I think it'd be better if you try to overcome those challenges, because it's kind of a lack of transparency for not meeting almost for a year and then all of a sudden coming with a 636-page report.
I think our work speaks for itself.
Yes, and I haven't had time to read it, but I hope to come through it. Dr. Meng, you use Georgia Tech resources. DataWorks is my understanding. I tried to meet with you and you declined to meet with me. But as a Georgia Tech grad and a master's in data analytics, I would love to meet sometime if that is possible. I don't know why you would refuse to meet.
Thank you for that question. The DataWorks is a really great initiative. It's a data service group out of the College of Computing, and their effort on this, their labor, was paid for by the AI initiative. It's the Atlanta Initiative for Artificial Intelligence. It's got folks from Emory, Georgia Tech, and HBCUs. So we were really grateful, and you can read that in the acknowledgement section, that was what funded them. And yeah, I really appreciate you reaching out to meet with me, and happy to talk more about that. Thank you.
Okay. You did do a harm report. Is there any benefit report? Did Fulton County do anything? I know you're not studying the last 50 years where taxpayers have done things. Is there any benefits that were looked at to see that? I know, like my studies, I was recently in an RLI leadership, so I had to learn a lot of history of Atlanta. And
benefits of slave labor? Is that what you're asking?
No. Benefits that were provided to the Black community to try to help repair the harms. Those are the benefits that I'm talking about.
You mean benefits in the past?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. That data does not exist because the act has not occurred, which is what we're asking for now. There are no
the
benefits.
acts have not occurred, or what?
You mean repair, or you mean?
Well, attempts to help actually anybody whether you're Black, white, whatever, in the lower socioeconomic. Were there any studies done to see if there were any? I know there were benefactors that tried to help and put money and resources to try to help. I mean, you called out the owner. I think it was the owner who said he'd pay $100 to all his slaves in his will. I think our probate court judge found that.
So for the record, let me correct that. The probate judge did not find that data. That data has existed within those records and were once made accessible to the public. Those records, those wills, were actually on the shelves for anyone really to be able to have access to. So they were made available even during my years, almost 20 years now, of me actually studying the Back to Africa movement in Georgia. And that will was actually made accessible to the public, was taken away and actually placed behind the shelves, and actually has remained inaccessible for the public to be able to receive. The way that data was actually retrieved was actually from a filmmaker who's actually present here today, who's beginning to do work also on the American colonization versus Gartrell case. And he was able to find that information in looking at findagrave.com, and a family member actually digitized and transcribed that will and became accessible to the public. And so it wasn't found by the probate judge, just for the record. But in regards to an individual, a benefactor who actually made an attempt to grant recompense to the enslaved, was actually in the case of American colonization versus Cottrell in 1854. And as I stated, and the Francis Gideon, who was actually the person who actually owned the Black Gideon family, and as I stated, one of the descendants are here in the audience with us today. He actually made an attempt to atone. He actually made an attempt to grant recompense to those whose labor and freedom he stole. But that was actually denied by a Fulton County Superior Court judge, Superior Court judge. And so what was stolen from them was what would be equivalent to almost $2 million today.
Yes, you mentioned that previously.
So that's just one
and
example.
I didn't say she found it. I just know we have an article on our website about those wills, which I found that were very interesting, that are held in our probate court. I'm not claiming that Judge Kenya Johnson is saying she found them, but she would like to publicize them and get them where people can look at them.
And I guess maybe the short answer to your question, if there was something in place in order to grant benefits or recompense to the formerly enslaved, the short answer is no.
And I know Atlanta has recently formed a reparations. Are you working with their task force?
No, I'm not.
And in their task force, it mentioned that with the gratuities clause in Georgia, that individuals cannot be paid money directly when they set up their task force. So can you give us some ideas of what you're thinking for repair?
Well, first of all, in regards to individuals not being able to receive an individual check from the state, I would have to say, what are income taxes? Those are checks actually paid to individuals. But in regards to recompense, there is already a case where the state has actually granted recompense to a former slave and actually gave him money. His name is actually Ransom Montgomery. If you're familiar with Georgia's history, particularly in Atlanta, Ransom Montgomery was actually granted received what we would call quasi-freedom, a nominal slave, if you will. He actually he put out a fire of a railroad bridge near the Chattahoochee River. And because he worked tirelessly the entire day in order to try to put out that fire and save the lives of hundreds of white passengers who were going to cross it, the railroad was actually owned by the state. And what happened was that the state of Georgia actually purchased his freedom for almost about $1,200. And so in 1868, upon his 3 years after he was a free man, he actually petitioned the state of Georgia and had a representative to work on his behalf in order to grant him the money that the state actually promised for his freedom. They granted him recompense of about almost $600, and then they gave him a stipend of $15 every month. But that was cut off 2 months after he passed away. So that is an example. So
But that was a direct payment to a direct individual that was directly harmed.
Yes, and so we have.
So you're asking for indirect payments for.
No.
Okay, you're not asking for.
I never said those words.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify because I get a lot of people who reach out to me, and the common thing is, why should we be responsible for a crime that we never committed? Slavery, all of that, it's horrific. It's in a horrific past.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to say a point of order for you to please end this ridiculous conversation.
What's your point of order?
My point of order is that this has nothing, her lack of understanding of slavery and history is not what we're here for.
No.
We're here for the presentation of this reparations report.
Excuse me, I have the floor, and
Just a minute.
my
Commissioner
constituents.
Thorne, hold on a second, please. What's your point of order, Commissioner?
My point of order is that if she would like to have a town hall on the history of slavery and African Americans in America, she should go ahead and schedule that, and they can come and speak to it and be their guests. Right now, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the reparations report, which this panel has presented.
Accept your point of order. Commissioners, these are the findings today,
Yes.
not recommendations, findings.
Thank you.
So what would you say to those people that, I mean, because you just talked about how the state paid somebody directly. So how do you pay relatives, somebody like I'm
Point of order,
I'm a
Mr. Chair.
product of
You
immigrant.
just ruled.
Okay.
You just ruled that. Hold on, wait a
I'm
minute.
with you, Ms. Commissioner.
You just
These
ruled.
are my constituents'
Wait a minute,
concerns.
this-
I get emails
Commissioner
on
Thorne,
this when this
Commissioner
came
Thorne,
up.
Commissioner Thorne, please. The point of our, if you got other questions, these are just the findings, not recommendations. Let's stick to the findings
Okay,
report.
I'll go to the findings. Dr. Ming, can you come back up again, please?
And I'm going to answer that question for you.
Thank
If they
you.
want to know, they
Yeah.
can come to our meeting. But as everyone has expressed again and again, this is the harm report.
Mhm.
I mean, we've barely had 24 hours to even be free of releasing the report. Give us time to catch our breath. And the next phase, if you vote in support of this, if you're so excited to know about what is the next phase and how we will answer those questions, I ask that you support the resolution for us to continue to do this work so we can produce the repair report.
Okay.
And Dr. Ming, when you looked at the harm report, did you ever look at what we've done, what Fulton County citizens have done as it pertains to MARTA, the amount we spend with MARTA, with Grady? We talked about PAD. We're funding an emergency ER room to address health care, and we hope to have a hospital in South Fulton.
Point of order, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair. This has nothing to
The
do with the
federal-
topic.
All right,
I'm
Commissioner
asking
Thorne.
in her
about
research,
MARTA.
did
Commissioner
she?
Thorne.
She's talking about
Commissioner
Marta.
Thorne.
there-
Commissioner Thorne, please. Stick to the, just
This
deal
is
with the
about the harm
findings.
when they do
The
their
findings.
findings.
This is
I
not-
mean, I have done Georgia Tech research, and when you do research, you look at benefits, you look at harms, and then you try to see how things might offset each other. There isn't all harm. We've had HCBUs that have been funded. We're funding a clinic for Morehouse
Commissioner
School of
Thorne,
Medicine.
Commissioner
We
Thorne.
have Title I programs, and they want to interrupt me
Commissioner
because
Thorne.
these are concerns that I
Commissioner
have.
Thorne.
That
Commissioner Thorne, please.
I can,
Please.
if I provide a response, could we move forward? So when you're doing economic analysis or data analysis, you do have to lay out your assumptions. And I think your assumption is just incorrect in that what has been done in the past few decades is repair, because it's not repair unless the people who have experienced the harm, who are descendants of people who have experienced the harm, have laid it out as this is what repair is. So until we have that from these people from Fulton County by doing our town halls and bringing out the repair report, we just can't answer that question. Your assumption that those things have been repaired is just...
No, I'm not saying they're repaired. I've just quantified. If those things are quantified, because certainly in the past 50 years, Atlanta has had black leadership. So what have Fulton County residents done? What have we tried to do? Because as a commissioner, if there's something more we could do, I would love to know what that could be.
Come, just a minute. Just listen. These are the findings, once again, colleagues and members of the task force. If you have questions about the methodology that was used, I'd suggest that you meet with the task force, the chair, and work that out and be very specific about what you disagree with. But again, these are just the findings that they're presenting today.
Okay, and I did try to meet with them, sorry, but I was denied that opportunity.
Well, I'll arrange for a meeting. Anybody that wants to meet with them, that can happen. All right. Commissioner Arrington, we've gone over here.
Yeah, when you try to get someone fired from their job, it's obvious that they're not going to meet with you. So let's be clear about what's going on and what happened here and what you did. I'm going to make a motion, number one. First of all, before I make my motion, I want to know who told y'all couldn't meet via Zoom, because that's ridiculous and preposterous.